So Michelle Russell asks, how do you keep from second guessing yourself when pulling cards? I've experimented with several shuffling techniques and some feel better than others, but I will still keep feeling like, is this the right card? Oh, wait, is this the one? And questioning my intuition about which cards feel right. So when you talk about using different shuffling methods, here's what I'm hearing in my head. And Michelle, if you're here, I think you are here. If you're here, correct me if I'm wrong. But like, so if you're like, let's say you're an overhand and you like wait for a jumper, right? And then, or maybe wait for one to like stick out. And then you're like, okay, that's my card. Is this the right card or not? Kind of thing. Is that kind of what's happening? So like my method, my usual method, I change it a little bit. Sometimes I do a little hand over hand. I don't typically read jumpers. Every once in a while I will. So I'll typically just shuffle until I feel done. That's it. Just shuffle till I feel done. I don't get any kind of energetic woo-woo vibe. I just shuffle till I feel done. And then I'll cut. So my typical method for cutting is either I will pull a chunk out of the middle and move it to the top. And now this is the top card. Or I'll just cut it and just put it on the bottom. I've done it both ways. Doesn't matter. Okay, so Michelle says, like, I'll cut the cards and then not be able to figure out whether it's the one on the bottom of one half or on the top of the other half. So, like, if you're like, oh, did I cut it in the right place? Like, what if I missed it and it was really supposed to be this card and not this card? So it's like this idea of, did I cut it in the right place? Like, is this actually the card that's meant for me? Am I understanding? So here's my take. I'm just going to babble for a minute and then correct me if I'm on the wrong track. So I'm going to give you the really blunt, basic answer to this question. If you've decided that whatever card is on top is going to be your card, and you've decided that before you start shuffling. Okay, well, when I cut, whatever card's on top, that's my card, right? Whatever card's on top is on top. That's now my card. You know why that's my card? Doesn't matter if I cut in the right place or the wrong place. There's no such thing. Because I decided before I started shuffling that whatever card ended up on top, that's my card. That's my card. Period. It is very easy. And keep this in mind, y'all. If you've never had this question come up, that's cool. But this is not an uncommon thing to be concerned about. A lot of people are like, what if this wasn't actually the card that was meant for me? What if I cut it in the wrong place? What if I didn't shuffle it right? That is not an uncommon thing to feel. So is it a type of overthinking? Maybe. But I think a lot of us have struggled with that at times. Like, how do you know? How do you know if this is the card that's meant for you? And the answer is this simple, because you decided before you started shuffling that that was going to be your card. And so that is the easiest way to know. Another way to look at this is like this. Okay, I'm going to fan the cards. And this is where I might feel for heat or whatever. This is a more woo-woo method. I might feel for heat, but maybe I don't feel anything and I'm going to just choose. But I know that whatever I choose, that's the message that I need right now. It doesn't matter if I felt something. It doesn't matter. I don't believe, and now everybody's going to have a different feeling about this, but I don't believe that there is some predetermined card waiting for me to select it and I could choose wrong. I believe that, first of all, we can learn from any card we pull. Let's get real nuts and bolts about it. Okay, hold on. I'm going to be opinionated for a second. Let's get real boring about it for a minute. Let's get real boring about it. Okay, let's be real for a second. Because I have conversations like this with people who don't understand tarot. Can I give you a meaningful message from the Eight of Pentacles right now, even if this isn't specifically drawn for you? I just pulled this out of my deck. Can I give you a meaningful message from the Eight of Pentacles? I believe, yes, I can. And I believe I can do that whether this card was meant for you or not. These are archetypes and relatable examples from life as humans that we can connect with. That's why one of the reasons why tarot works. You can get into the woo side of it for sure. You can go into all kinds of rabbit holes and get so much more richness out of this practice than just that. But at its base level, these are pictures on cards that are based on a system that we can relate to. And because we can relate to it, we can usually get a useful message out of any card in the deck. That's your personal significator? That's so funny. So sometimes I think we put too much emphasis on the woo side and can get hung up on like, oh my gosh, what if I didn't get the card that I was supposed to get, or that the universe meant for me to get, or that God meant for me to get, or that my guides wanted me to get. Here's the thing. If you pulled the card, you got the card you were supposed to get. So some of this is about trust, right? I'm going to trust that I can get a useful message from this card no matter what. Doesn't matter. You could drop your cards on the floor and one happens to turn up and you're like, I'm going to use that as my card, and it can still be valid. And I think, like I said, I think sometimes we attach too much importance to, and this is such an easy trap to fall into. Again, I am not judging anybody for having this feeling. I've had this feeling. It's very easy in this community to hear things that imply that there's a right way to do stuff, and that if you're not doing it this way, it's wrong, or that if it's useful, it's right. Bottom line, if it's useful, it's right. If it's not useful, let's say this is the card you flipped, I would encourage you, if you're like, nah, this isn't resonating, that probably wasn't my card, then part of you may just be looking for a reason to dig for something else. Sometimes we pull a card and it doesn't feel right. Like it doesn't feel like it's the card we want or need in that moment. My encouragement to you in that would be there's probably something there for you anyway. There's probably something there that can support you or that can teach you. And sometimes that initial gut feeling of this isn't meant for me is because there's something there that's either poking at a shadowy thing that we would rather not look at. Now, remember, shadowy doesn't mean bad. It's something that we feel that we prefer not to look at, right? So sometimes something we prefer not to look at is a good thing. Maybe it's telling you that you're really successful and you're like, oh, I don't like that. I don't like compliments. And so part of you just automatically wants to push it away and go, this isn't for me right now. So I would always encourage you that if you have that gut instinct to go, oh, I'm not getting anything from this, that's not for me, and to shuffle it back in, try not to. Try to sit with it. And sit with it longer than is comfortable. Let yourself be a little uncomfortable. This is probably just good life advice in general, but typically when I let myself be a little uncomfortable, that is when I learn and grow the most. There's something there for me in the discomfort almost every single time, if not every single time. So I would encourage you to sit with it. And then after you've sat with it, through that uncomfortable period, if you're still feeling like this just isn't making sense, then either leave it on your table, come back to it later, take a break, or have a conversation with the card. Eight of Pentacles. I don't get it. I'm not working too hard. I'm not being a perfectionist. What are you talking about? I could never say that to the Eight of Pentacles. I'm not doing that. Stop telling me that. I don't do that. I'm so loosey goosey. I'll put out anything. I don't care how crabby it is. Let's say that's me. And I'm just not getting it. I'm like, what is it you're trying to tell me? I'll ask that, and then I'll shuffle or I'll cut, and I'll pull another card. Oh, maybe I'm not perfectionist about the stuff that I've got now, but maybe I have a really hard time saying yes to anything new because nothing ever seems like it fits my standard. Because the Ace of Pentacles is about new opportunities, right? Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what's going on. So you can then kind of have a conversation. But before you pull clarifying cards, first move through that uncomfortable period. That's what I would say about that. And again, I know I give very long-winded answers to these questions, but here we are. I do hope that was helpful.